Hi everyone, this is Ricky Graham from the Data Ops Department, and I'm going to walk you through the functionality of Blackbaud ReNXT and how you can use it to look up your donations for your parish as they pertain to the Bishop's Annual Appeal. So let's get started. First, we need to log into ReNXT. To do that, we need to travel to blackbaud.com. As you can see here, if you just type in blackbaud.com, it'll take you to the landing page you need to go to sign in. Up here in this corner, you'll see the sign in button, and you'll click on this. And that will pop a prompt for you to put in your Blackbaud ID and your password. Today I'm not going to be Ricky Graham. Today I'm going to be Test NXT user for the purposes of this training. So I'm putting in my Blackbaud user ID. This will typically be an email address, and I've got my password in, and now I'm going to click sign in. Once you click sign in, it brings you back to a landing page that looks very similar to the page we were just on with the sign in prompt up here. But how you know you're signed in as well is you'll now have your initials up here in the corner. Right now mine is Test Parish, so that's why it says TP. But where you want to go to get into NXT fully is up here, the three lines in the corner. You're going to click those. So we give it a click, and you'll see this drop down that says Razor's Edge NXT and Marketplace. We're going to click on Razor's Edge NXT. Once you do that, we're now in the web-based database portal, and it brings you to your home page. On this home page, you have a few tiles. The tiles here are updates. These will give you the latest updates from NXT. They're in periodical order, so you can look back through numerous updates. It goes back quite a few months if you want to look and see what's been updated. You also will have a task tile. That'll give you tasks that you have associated with your account. I don't have any in this account, and most of you won't have any unless you put them in yourself. They're not really needed, but they can be helpful if you want to remind yourself of something. And then you have the recently accessed tile. This just shows the records that you've recently accessed, and as you can see here, I've accessed most of the Data Ops department and some test records. This is here as well, and it is pretty convenient because you can use it to access records that you know you go to more frequently, so you can just get to them right here from this home page. If you wanted to do that, you can click on Miss Test Record 2, and it'll take you right to Miss Test Record 2's record. And you can see her giving history, her giving, the constituent summary, her contact information, and the appeals that she gives to. I'm going to go back to the home page. So for the purpose of this training, we want to learn how to use this to look up how the parish is doing with their Bishop's Annual Appeal. So to do that, we want to click up here on Fundraising. The drop-down box will only bring up one thing, Reporting, and we're going to click on Reporting. Once you click on Reporting, you'll have one tab that pops up, the Overview tab. This Overview tab will give you some neat different ways to look at the analysis of how your Bishop's Annual Appeal is doing and how it pertains to your parish. But before we look at those individually, let's go ahead and get our criteria fields filled out appropriately so we can make sure that we have the most up-to-date information as the time goes on during the appeal. So the first thing you want to do is fill out your campaign description. That would be this box here. You'll click the drop-down, and you'll search for Bishop's Annual Appeal 2021. You'll go ahead and click Bishop's Annual Appeal 2021, and you'll hit Apply. This is already selected for me, so I don't need to hit Apply, but for these purposes and to show you as a training tool, I'm showing you this way. Next, you're going to go to your fund description. my fund is $8.99, no parish affiliation. That's pretty low on the list, so if I wanted to find it, I can type in no parish and it should come up. If you're looking for your parish, if you start to type in the name, your parish will come up. Now, if I click on Cathedral Campaign, no parish affiliation, nothing will show up. I do not have access to view the Cathedral Campaign's reporting or monetary value or anything associated with that account. So I still, however, do need to click mine, so I would click $8.99 and hit apply. So now that we have our campaign description and our fund description filled out, we now want to fill out our appeals description. You're going to click the drop-down box on this field as well. And for this one, to make sure that we get all of the appeals in for the campaign year, we're going to type 2021 into the search bar like so. And all of the 2021 BAA appeals will show up here. So I'm going to click all of these and hit apply and make sure that they apply to my campaign for my parish. I want to make sure I have all these appeals applied so that anybody that gets these appeals will show up in my revenue stream. My next criteria field is the gift date. You're going to hit the drop-down box on that as well. Now, I know this looks kind of silly because I've started my gift date from 7/1/2020, and I've ended it in a future date at 12/31/2021. But there is a method and a reason behind this, and I'll tell you why. I've ended it at 12/31/2021 because I want everything accounted for as it comes in. If I don't end it, have the to date be the end date of the campaign, I would have to keep up and continually switch that criteria date every single time I checked on the gifts in this tool. So it's easier to just have this in here and everything will come in and I don't have to worry about switching out that field each time that I check on things. The from date, however, is set at July 1st, 2020, because even though the BAA runs on a calendar year, it also runs on our fiscal year, which happens to be mid-year. So that's why we started on 7/1/2020, because we want to make sure any gifts that were given to this campaign, even if they were associated with the campaign before January, we want to make sure they are accounted for when we look up the numbers for our parish. So again, we want to make the date from 7/1/2020 and to 12/31/2021 and click apply. And now we have our criteria set to be able to look at the correct numbers for each appeal for our 2021 campaign. Now, before we go any further, let's make sure that we have our criteria saved so the next time we log in, we don't have to worry about setting our criteria again. To do that, we come up here and we click the down arrow and we hit Save Current View. And I'm going to name this BAA 2021 Parish View. And then I'm going to hit Save. Now, whenever I come in, it will send this screen and the overview of the reporting to the default view, but whenever that happens, now all I have to do is click the down arrow and pick my 2021 parish view for the BAA, and I don't have to worry about continually filling out those criteria. Now, let's briefly go through what each of these sections convey. So this first section here will convey committed and received revenue and gifts, the average gift, and the total past due. You know you're on received because it says 0, but when you're on committed, mine says 0 right now, but typically there is a number here that'll show you that it's past due. You want to make sure that you're aware whether you're on the revenue type committed or received when you're looking at your gifts. When you move to the next section, This shows you top campaigns. And what this section right here really does is compares what your parish is doing comparatively to the overall goal of the bishop's annual appeal. So this gold bar here is typically going to be much higher than this blue bar. And that's okay, because it's supposed to be that way, because the overall revenue of the bishop's annual appeal is going to be significantly higher than your parish overall goal. But this is telling you where we're at right now, which is $2,087 on my test parish, and then the overall amount of the bishop's annual appeal when you hover over the bars. This next section here is top funds. Your top fund is always going to be your parish. So since my parish is no parish affiliation, parish 899, that's my top fund and where all of my revenue is coming from and going to. The next section is your top appeals. This shows you where the majority and how well each appeal is doing for your parish. As you can see, unassigned is doing the best for mine right now, followed by initial ask, then in pew, and then lastly online. And again, when you hover over these bars, it gives you the monetary amount of each appeal. And lastly, this section, Gifts by Constituent Code, gives you an idea of who's donating to your parish. Typically, just like you see here, most of my donations and gifts are coming from my parish people, 899, but I do have some coming from a donor advised fund, and I do have 3 gifts coming from Raleigh employees. Thank you, Raleigh Diocese employees, and those equal $42. So thank you, Raleigh Diocesan employees, for your generous gift to help me with this training today. But this gives you a good idea of who's donating to your parish and helping you out to achieve your goals. Next, let's discuss some easy ways to get some list of our donors. So one way to get a list of our donors is you can make sure you have the correct revenue type that you'd like. And for this list, I'd like to see who our committed donors are. So I make sure my revenue type is committed, and I come over here and I click on the revenue. If something is in blue, you can click on it and it will bring up a panel on the right-hand side. Once this panel's up, I'm going to take this and I'm going to hit Create a List. So click on Create List. Once you're in Create List, as you can see, you have your constituents, the date of the gift, the type of gift, the amount, the fund, the campaign, what appeal they gave to. If there's a balance because it's a pledge, that will be on the balance, and comments. Another interesting feature of this is, let's say you want to know for Dr. Test, his balance is $315, but what's the pledge installments for his balance? So if you click on the amount of his pledge, it brings up his record, the pledge portion of his record right here. And as you can see, it tells you how many payments are made, when the next installment would be, and what the pledge balance is. This also gives you a nice little graph here of the pledge burned down, the actual balance versus the expected, and the last pledge payment and the date of that payment with the remaining balance. It also lets you know the schedule here with the number of installments and when the installments are due. This also gives you a good idea of when reminders would go out to this constituent. You can easily close this record by hitting X. Now there's something missing from this report, and that is the CID number. So we want to go here to Columns, and we want to click Constituent ID. and apply changes. I like to put my constituent IDs out in front, so I'm going to move this column over here, which you can do with these columns. They are movable and you can make them how you want, or you can do it once you export it to your CSV or Excel file. So now that we have these here, we're going to go ahead and export our file. So in order to do that, you come over here and you click Export. A window pops up here saying that it's complete, and you click it. Then you click the download button. I can see it downloading here, and I'm going to click to open. And there you have it. There's my CSV file. Now I will tell you, you might want to open this up a little bit, and these first columns here from view record to is anonymous are arbitrary and you don't need them. These gift IDs and system record IDs are strictly for the back-end purposes of the database, and you don't need them for your reporting purposes. So I would go ahead and delete these columns. So once that's done, go ahead and delete. Now you have a nice donor list of your committed revenue that you can share with the rest of the BAA volunteer staff. So let's go ahead and close this out. Once we've closed out our exported file, it brings us back to our download screen. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the home button, which this is a good note. Whenever you're concerned or worried or feel lost in the database, hit the home button. It'll take you right back home and you can gather everything back up and figure out where you want to go from there. Now I'm going to show you how to do a list for your fundraising purposes to get a more detailed record of your donations. To do that, you come up here to list and you hit the drop down, and we're going to do a gift list. You don't want to do a constituent list for this, you want to do a gift list for your BAA donors. So click gifts. And we are going to create a new list. So you're going to hit this plus button here, and you're going to click Build a New List. Now we're here to fill out our criteria for our new list. And what we want to do is select the campaign. So we click this drop-down arrow, and we want Bishop's Annual Appeal 2021. So we're going to click that and then click Apply Filter. So we're going to give it a minute while this is pulsing. Tell us that it's working. And then we're going to take our fund and click the drop-down arrow here. Your parish should be the only selection, but you still need to check the box and click Apply Filter. Now this will give you committed, received. As you can see in our other list that was just a quick committed donor list, we didn't have received things on there such as pledge payments. This gives us a full view, stock property, everything that's come in so far from the 2021 Bishop's Annual Appeal for our 899 parish. So with that, you probably noticed there's something missing on here, and you would be right. We need to go to our columns again, and we need to click Constituent ID. And we need to apply changes. We also want to come back up here to the column section and click columns again. And we want to come down here. And we want to check payment method and click apply changes. It's going to give us a payment method column that's going to show us whether the donor made the generous donation with a credit card, a check, other. Gives us another layer of data as to how the donation was made to be able to reconcile for auditing purposes within the parish. So let's go ahead and move this CID number over here to the front again. And let's take this payment method column and stick it right here in between type and amount. That way you can kind of just go from one to the other. When we typically pull reports out, they come out this way in this format, so it's easier just to put it in this format as well when we're making our own. So now that we have this set up and we have a good view of how many donations and who's given, we're going to go ahead and export our file. So click Export. And again, we get this message up here that it's complete, so we're going to click that. Now we click our Download button. It's downloaded here, so let's open up our CSV file. And let's clean our file up again a little bit. Again, we want to get rid of these first columns because we don't need them. I also like to clean up my columns here so that they format them. So you go ahead and right-click. You highlight your whole column and you right-click Format Cells. And over here in the category, you pick Currency. Decimal places default is always 2. And down-click this arrow here for the symbol and click the $sign and OK. And now it's changed this column so that it shows monetary value, which is a little bit easier to read, I think, especially when you're sharing. I'm going to do the same thing to my balance column. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to click Format Cells. Select Currency. And my symbol is already checked because I did it on column F. And I'm going to click OK. And now my balances have a monetary value as well. So let's go ahead and save this as an Excel file while we're here. So you can come up here and say File, click on File, Save As. I'm going to save it to my OneDrive. And I need to change my extension from CSV to Excel Workbook. And I like it being called Gift List, so I'm going to keep it as that, and I'm going to click Save. And there you have it. My file is saved, and I can share it and email it with my colleagues, and we can all see how well our parish is doing during the BAA. So I went ahead and saved my file and closed out the screen and came back to my home screen here. And that concludes our NXT training for today. I know most of you do have this capability at your parish as it is, but I know that there are some of you that do not. And if you're interested in getting a username and sign on to be able to have this functionality for your parish, all you need to do is open up your email and check new email and send one to dataops.support@raldioc.org. And in the subject line, put NXT access and put something like, hello, I would like NXT access for my parish. Thanks. Hit send. And that will go directly to our request ticket system. And you'll hear from us shortly with a username and password to log on to NXT. I hope that this has been a helpful training for you today. And please don't hesitate, even if it's not for NXT access, to contact DataOps for any other questions or inquiries regarding the BAA process or NXT or reporting. Please contact us. We'd love to hear from you at DataOps support@raldioc.org, and thank you for taking the time with me today.